So I have a really good question about this while we have you here, while you're at the table. Let's get some legal advice for the audience. What's the best balance of like, I need to protect my client, but we need to move the deal along? Because I've been in tons of contract negotiations for film or life or whatever, where it's like, you got to move it along, but you also can't sacrifice everything just to like give the other side what they want. And
totally. No, I totally understand that. I would say at starting off in any negotiation, I think there's two things I want to know. So I would say there's two things anyone wants to know. Is you want to know at what point do you get up from the table and leave? And then at what point do they get up from the table and leave? So that comes down to motivations. So going into a deal, I tell this when I'm getting introduced to a deal to help work on it is, look, I want more. Tell me as much as you can, context, person, how you know this person, what the deal is about, everything. Because I want the broadest picture. I want to know everything so I can understand your motivations so that then I know when we're going to get up and leave. But then I also want to try to role play on the other side and understand the other party's motivations so that then we can negotiate against them or with them. Not necessarily against them, but with them and be cooperative. But as for when is it time to I would say you got to figure out what your non-negotiables are.
Right.
So let's say we're doing a film and it's like, look, I'm not going to let them own my IP. Let's say, for instance, but we can negotiate payment terms. We can negotiate the accounting clause. We can negotiate indemnity, maybe liability, stuff like that. But I'm not going to let them own my IP.
Right.
So when a deal's mired in muck and it's not going anywhere and the relationship is getting a little iffy and, all things happen. You go to dinner, someone's talking about it. You're like, God, this is not what we wanted to happen.
Right.
You stick with your non-negotiable. Look, I understand you're not getting my IP, but if, indemnity, liability, the payment terms, if those are the problem, fine. We'll move off of those. That's okay. Because that's important to you. Those are your motivations, right? That's the other person's non-negotiable. So it's determine your non-negotiables, which it shouldn't be everything, but determine your non-negotiables, when you're going to get up from the table and leave. And then from there, contracts are about relationships. Business is relationships.
Yeah.
And I think people overcomplicate them. I think attorneys overcomplicate them. But I think it's scary, contracts are just relationships. And if you can manage the relationship well and then have very simple, not too legalese type of language, then it works out.
That's amazing. Yeah. I love hearing
non-negotiables though is what I would go. You got, and it comes down to motivations. Like I said, like why is this person sitting across the table from me right now?
Right.
Are they trying to get something else from me?
Right.
That's not involved in the four corners of this document.
And you see that honestly a lot in bills in Congress.
Yeah, it's like, you definitely do.
We call it this, but let's talk about low-income housing maybe a little bit right here. Like,
absolutely. Yeah. No, dude, you're totally right. I mean, how many times is there's so much pretext for bills. There's so much pretext for contracts even sometimes. I mean, I'm sure both of you guys have been presented contracts where you're like, what the heck? What is this doing here? Like, whoa, this got intense really fast.
Absolutely, yeah.
And so, but that's to me, and I tell clients this too. I'm very open with them. I'm like, look, this is your business. This is your life, your creative pursuit. This is whatever it is. I'm not going to step in between you and this deal and you and your business because I'm the guy. I'm the attorney here. It's no. If you want me to come in and be on that email, if you want me to send the email, absolutely. You want me to make that call, absolutely. But I don't want you to bring a gun to a knife fight, which is generally an attorney can be sometimes, right? Well, talk to my attorney. All of a sudden, that escalates things a little bit. It can, at least. So I always try to take the client's lead. I'm always like, look, I'm here when you need me. I'll be in the background. You can BCC me if you want. You can CC me if you want. But if you want me to send the email, you want me to be offensive in this relationship, I'm going to follow you. You let me know. I'm not here, I'm not here to quarterback this. And I think it's kind of nice, frankly. I mean, I think for me, and that's why I don't do any litigation. It's all transactional work. I like litigation is adversarial, right? One person wins, one person loses. That's just the nature of the court generally. I've done some litigation, but it just wasn't for me because I really like the cooperative deal making, and being a part of adding value, growing something. And I also get we were talking about it earlier, competitive juices, performance, that world. I mean, you go into a courtroom, oh yeah. Like, you talk about the anxiety, the stress, you get pumped up going into court sometimes. You got a freaking judge right there, right? You got millions of dollars on line. You got someone going to jail potentially. Like, you got to be pumped up. This is big stuff. I get that energy from being in the California State Open, from putting some money on the line in a golf game, from going and playing some music in front of people. That's where I get that energy from. So when in my business
healthier,
sense, I like to think so, but that's how I like to express myself. That's how I like to get that energy out. So when I'm in a business sense, I'm a little bit more laid back and kind of like, hey, how are we going to get this done? It's all right. Hey, you're coming to me with this big problem. I understand it's a dumpster fire, but let's put a little bit of water on it. Like, we're going to handle it. Doesn't have to be today. It could be next week, but like, we're going to handle this.
But that means you know yourself well enough to understand unnecessary stresses and where you want them in your life, right?
Yeah. I like to think I do. I try to. Yeah. I mean, I will say, I feel like I'm a bit of an empath sometimes because clients come in and, clients, when you're going to an attorney, generally you have something that you want done right, for sure. Yeah. And a lot of times it's a problem, but even if it's not a problem, it's a project that you're really proud of. And you have anxiety around it. So, I recently worked on an indie film. It was first-time producers. They never worked on it. They were just out of college. They had kind of one adult in the room, so to speak, producer, but it was a team of all first-time film producers. And that might be the last time I work with first-time producers, honestly, because the anxiety around timing of things, right? I mean, you guys remember it. Like the time
you worked with me as a first-time producer.
Yeah. And but remember the anxieties you felt when E&O insurance didn't come through or when someone didn't sign a contract. It's like, we needed this yesterday. Why don't we have it? You could call, is this going to be okay? Like, what about this?
But you helped quell all that because you figured out all that stuff that we needed, the E&O insurance and the copyrights and the chain chain of title. And like, that was stuff I don't learn as a PA on set at Warner Brothers.
Yeah,
right?
It's true. Yeah, no, that's producer stuff. Yeah, that's producer stuff. But but for me, to your point of like learning myself, I've learned very recently. I've had my business for 7 years now, and just crazy to think about. But I've learned recently that I do feel my clients' energy. And sometimes it can be hard when you almost feel schizophrenic in a way where it's like one call, person is freaking out, putting out the fire, handle the problem, get off the phone. Next call is, hey, so good. Congratulations. What a cool project. Can't wait to work with you. So proud of you. This is going to be great, exciting. Next call, intense problem. How do we figure this out? Next call, someone's mad at you. Like, it just changes so quickly. Yeah. And so like, I need to be protective of myself. Otherwise, I'm not going to be the best counsel.
Thank you for watching Studio 22.
Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.
And follow our socials at Studio 22 Podcast.